So, Yetta, how much do we really need to retire?
It's likely more than you might think it is.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are honored that we've been able to create for you free access to over 653 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, and building wealth wisely. Great news is you can get access to them from home, from the office, or on the go. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Dekker Team one, it is time to do so you can get access to them as soon as they come out. We're going to explore, what does it take financially? How much money does it take to be able to retire comfortably?
Ooh, comfortably.
Well, comfortably to the lifestyle, to that which you have chosen. So I think that's the first piece, is you need to decide what you want retirement to look like if you're going to retire.
I think you gotta decide how long you're going to live after you retire too. That affects some things.
It's all God willing, and we don't know. I mean, thankful if we get to retirement. Many of our friends haven't gotten there.
No.
And so there is no assurance. It's just without a little bit of forethought and a little bit of planning, even if we get to retirement and we're still enjoying the ride on this side of heaven, then it would be nice to be able to not rely on other people for our financial well-being. Ideally.
Yeah. So there is a guideline that financial planners sometimes use. It's called the 4% rule. Basically, it's saying that if you retire at, say, 65 and you take 4% out each year, you should have enough until you don't need any money anymore.
Correct.
Including gains and losses and all that good stuff.
Well, if you have approximately $1 million, you're going to have approximately $40,000 a year.
Right.
Which may not
be the lifestyle that some people want.
It may not even be enough to pay for your expenses. Even living in a retirement resort or income, like a property, that's probably not going to cut it every year.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a couple. If you have $1.5 million investments, and that's drawing from the investments and still leaving some in to keep growing.
Yeah.
Right? Then you will, if you have $1.5 million, it should be about $60,000. This is all dependent on your returns, where you have it invested. If it's going down and your stocks and bonds are doing nothing, well, then these numbers, it's going to be a much shorter period of time that you actually have money to sustain you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want sort of that lifestyle, either both of you in a retirement residence, or maybe you want to travel, and so you're going to need $2 million for $80,000 of income, or $2.5 million for $100,000 of income for a couple. You know, those are really high numbers, and for many of us, we go, we're never going to be able to save that much money.
Right.
Because I didn't start when I was 5 putting money away from my retirement, or I haven't been getting good results through my retirement. So deciding on the lifestyle is important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And make decisions early. The earlier you can make decisions.
Even when it feels like you shouldn't be making the decisions yet because you're busy living in the throes of life.
Yeah, you might be
raising
just having kids.
Right, exactly. Having kids, raising kids, paying for colleges, paying for university, and you think, I can handle this later.
Yeah, and then we have not only the 4% rule, but we have
the 4 house rule. So I know it's interesting. They both work out as 4. If you can, in your 30s, even into your 40s, even into like 45, 50, if by then you can have 4 homes that are investment homes, or 3 investment homes and your own, that will work too, depending on the value of the homes and where they are and your lifestyle and all of that. However, the rule of thumb is if you have 4 homes, then that will also either augment or actually cover your retirement, whether you choose to liquidate, live on the cash flow. And the incredible thing with houses is you can start with the same seed money if you start early. Buy one and then use that same seed money a few years down the road to buy your second. We're not suggesting you have $1 million to invest in real estate in one day. We're suggesting over time you can take that same $150,000 for argument's sake and use that money, maybe it could be less than that, depending on where you're starting, and let that be your seed money as you develop into.
That's powerful.
Right?
And, if you would going, I don't get this, or maybe I'm excited about this, that's when you want to connect with us, because 90% of millionaires have real estate in their portfolio, and you need much more than $1 million to comfortably retire these days. So, connect with us together at dekkerteam.com, and we'll sit down with you. Discuss your goals, your plans, and what, if anything, real estate may be able to help augment where you're going and how to get there. Right? It's not a get quick rich scheme. It's a get rich slow scheme.
Yeah, and it's grow wealth slow if you do it wisely, right? Build wealth wisely is the game that we play. Right? It's the game that we have created through the wealth formula and through our last 30 years of helping ourselves and others build wealth wisely through real estate. So we've now turned it into a build wealth wisely game.
Yeah. And if you have 3 other homes other than your principal one, there's 3 ways you can draw money out of those properties.
Right.
First one is just cash flow, straight cash flow. Hopefully the mortgage gets paid off, and there's, it's renting for $2,000, $3,000 a month, and that's just income,
right?
Minus a few expenses,
which is fantastic. Or maybe you pull some equity out of one or more of the properties to live off, so that by the time you pass, they're not owned free and clear.
Yeah, you pulled your own and your original investment back out of them.
Right. And there's still value in them.
Free, right?
Well, that's right.
And it doesn't affect your other income and maybe some of your other benefits from the government that would be dissipated if you had too much income. And then there's capital gains, right? You can sell it. You could sell one. You don't want to necessarily sell more than one in a year because capital gains stack, right?
Right.
And then you're probably aware the government, in all its wisdom, thought that it should increase capital gains on the people that are making lots of capital gains. So there's a few ways to work that, right? So if you're on the first 250 in a year, it's at half rate, 50% tax rate.
And it used to be at half rate.
Yeah, it was always that, right? And then over that, it jumps to 66% is taxable. But the beauty is if you have it owned, like say if we owned a house together, you and I, Yetta, that was an investment and we sold it, it would be $250 each. So now it's $500,000 at the 50% rate before it jumps to the 66%.
Which is fantastic because that's way less than the tax I'm paying on any other income.
But there's some great ways of spreading that out, and we can discuss those for you. If you're thinking, hey, I'm thinking of selling one of my investment properties, we can discuss some great strategies to reduce that load. Yeah, so people try to do their best with the income they have so that they can afford to pay the taxes to the government that can't live within its income. That's a quote by Robert Half. Together, we're clarifying your options so that your wisdom will flow.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward